Walter Wat Tyler grew up in a time of great upheaval, not just for the English people, but for most of Europe. The Black Death hit English shores in 1348 when Wat was 7, seeing thousands of people succumbing to the bubonic plague. Luckily, none of the Tyler family contracted it, but all around them they would have seen people die on a near-daily basis for years. To make matters worse, the economic situation in England was harsh, especially for the peasants. The Black Death, killing upwards to 50% of the English population, opened up more work opportunities for those who survived, allowing them to charge more for their services than previously. This caused the nobility to enact the Ordinances of Labourers Act in 1349, which was an attempt to restrict the wages to pre-plague amounts, also making it illegal to refuse work if the request was made from a lord or member of the gentry. These laws were reinforced in 1361. But despite the peasants continued to flourish, especially those with skilled trades like John Tyler and Wat, who became a blacksmith as a young man. In 1377, Wat married Elizabeth Cave, whose parentage, much like Mary Bacon's, is unknown. Together they had one son, Richard. In 1378, Wat lived quietly in the Kentish countryside until 1381, when events started to take a dramatic turn. A radical priest, John Ball, disgusted by the corruption of the church and nobility, traveled about the country, preaching social change. Years before, Ball had been excommunicated from the church for the heresy of teaching all humans, as descendants of Adam and Eve, were equal and thus should be able to live decent lives together. Despite this, he never wavered in his beliefs, his message remaining the same throughout his ministry. Wat Tyler, on several occasions, listened to the man speak, now living in Brentwood, Essex, becoming a devoted follower of his teachings. Soon after, Wat heard him for a third time. Ball was thrown into prison by church authorities, causing unrest in the peasant population. Things boiled over on May 31st, 1381, when John Bampton, a royal official, tried collecting poll taxes in Brentwood. The taxes, higher than usual, was suspected not to be demanded by the king, but so Bampton could enrich himself. He came to Wat's home, where he, his wife, son, and sister lived, demanding to be put up for the night. Wat accommodated the man, more out of worry of punishment than genuine hospitality, but he would soon regret his choice. That same evening, Bampton cornered and attempted to rape Mary Tyler while she was collecting water outside the home. Wat, grabbing the hammer he used in his forge, attacked him, beating his head in. The killing of a royal official was an automatic death sentence, and even with witnesses, it was unlikely what side of the story would be believed. Instead, using this act of criminality to his advantage, he galvanized the people of Brentwood into taking up arms too. Fight back against the corrupt system to recreate English society so all might benefit from it, not just the select few. Contrary to what propagandists would later say, Wat's goal was not to become King of England, but merely to force the current king, Richard II, to get rid of his corrupt officials and look after his subjects. From Brentwood, the uprising spread until all of Essex and Kent was in revolt, Wat Tyler, its leader. They freed John Ball from Maidstone prison in Kent, and he and Wat led their people towards London. By June 13th, the rebels made it to the capital, where they were joined by hundreds of residents. They attacked the prisons, freeing any prisoners placed there by debt or other means they deemed corrupt, and went on to sack Savoy Palace. They also put to death any official they could find, believe in all, rightly or wrongly, were responsible for the oppression they experienced. Hundreds of records, law books, and other documents were destroyed during this time. Not deliberately, but due to the large amount of chaos taking place. The following day, King Richard met with Wat, John, and other leaders to hear their demands. Tyler demanded the king address the corruption in Parliament, to curb crooked officials abusing their power, to give the peasantry more rights under the law, and to grant pardons for all involved in the rebellion. Richard, then only a boy of 14, agreed to this, asking to meet the following day to create a binding agreement, to which Wat agreed. On June 15th, the group met again at Mike End, London. Wat, friendly with the king, calling him his brother, in keeping with John Ball's sermons, promised his everlasting friendship. He asked the king to keep his promises, to which one of the king's servants, a knight named Sir John Newton, called Tyler the greatest thief in all of Kent, brandishing his sword and stabbing him. Wat tried defending himself, but before he could draw his own sword, William Walworth, Lord Mayor of London, slashed at his neck, cutting it open. Wat rode 30 paces before collapsing from his horse, taken to a local hospital by his supporters while others stood prepared to fight the king's forces. In the chaos that followed, Tyler, stabbing Walworth with a band of men, hunted the blacksmith down. The mayor dragged the dying man from his hospital back to Mike, and where, in front of a watching crowd, Wat Tyler was beheaded. His head was later placed on London Bridge as a warning to other would-be rebels. John Ball would also be captured, given a mock trial, and was hanged, drawn, and quartered, his head adjoining Wat's on the bridge. But, despite their deaths, the reforms the two men fought for were enacted, and they helped pave the way for democracy in England and the Western world in general.